Are you tired of feeling like your marketing efforts are just a drop in the ocean? I want to flip the script with you and start making some waves. Welcome to Million Dollar Marketing. Hey there, welcome to the Million Dollar Marketing Show. I'm your host, Jody Sedini. Dive deep with us into the marketing maze where we're going to tackle the big business questions head on, share expert insights, and crack the code on what it really takes to take your business to $1 million and beyond. Whether you're a battle-tested entrepreneur or just stepping into the arena, this podcast is your arsenal for strategies that hit the mark, expert advice that you can bank on, and of course, a good laugh or two. So grab your drink of choice, settle in, and let's get ready to turn your business into a powerhouse together. Hey there, Jody Sedini here, your no-nonsense guide to marketing greatness. My focus for today is talking about why attention is everything and how you can stand out in a saturated market. So it's about the power of attention. I want to kick things off with a simple truth. One of the core truths that I have is that marketing always works, that ads always work. One of the other core truths that I hold on to is that attention is your most valuable asset. So in today's saturated market, right? Like ads are everywhere in our feed. They're on websites, they're on Google, they're on YouTube, they're showing up everywhere, right? In today's saturated market, if you want your marketing to succeed, then you need to grab your audience's attention super fast. And then you also have to keep it. So being intentional and strategic with your content and your messaging is super crucial. The first part of that is your hook, right? Hooks are super essential. It's sort of like a basic marketing principle, but those first few seconds are really your chance to hook people, reel people in. It's that old school, like really foundational marketing method, but it's more relevant now than ever. You'll see all kinds of reels that are starting with like this attention grabbing thing, right? Like somebody flipping in gymnastics and then like landing in a cup of coffee as a commercial for coffee, right? It's very attention grabbing. It's more relevant now than ever, whether it's a social media post or an actual paid advertisement, anything like that. You need a strong hook that will make people stop scrolling and start paying attention to your content. Think of it like fishing. If the bait isn't attractive or you have the wrong bait, the fish won't bite. That you have to pick the right bait and you have to have it something that's going to be attractive enough for them to bite. So in the digital age, that competition for attention is so fierce. People are bombarded all the time with content every second that they're online. And so to cut through that noise, you really need to be intentional and strategic. It's really not enough to just simply post content just for the sake of posting content. You need to post the right content in the right places and at the right times. That's really going to help you move into the next step, which is leveling up your marketing game. So I want to talk about the levels of your marketing game. So the first level is content. Think about this like blogs, videos, podcasts, social media. Okay. So these platforms are essentially your stage. And this is where you share your voice, right? And you need to perform here to pull in your audience. But pulling them in is really just the beginning, right? That's the hook. The next level is turning that attention into action. And what does that mean? That means opting in for your content. That means buying your thing that you're selling. So leads and sales. And this is where your strategy needs to be super duper airtight. So when somebody stumbles across your content, you have like a split second to make an impression. Your content needs to be engaging, your content needs to be informative, and your content needs to be actually valuable. It's the bait that lures them in, the hook that lures them in, but the real magic happens when you can turn that attention, that initial interest into a lead or a sale. So think about like the user experience. They're scrolling through their feed and they're bombarded with like constant posts and ads. Why should they stop and look at yours? Because you offer something unique, something valuable that they can't get anywhere else. And your goal is to make your content a scroll stopper. So whether that's like a bold statement, a striking image, or a thought provoking question, you need to grab their attention and hold it. Okay. So, how do you stand out in a sea of content? So, competing for attention means that you need to be bold and you need to be different. This is something that I've embraced recently, and I'm still riding that wave. One of the best ways to do this, which is sort of what I'm doing, is polarization. So, I want to tell you about an account that I follow, and she really goes against the grain. It's super, super duper brilliant. Instead of telling people to, buy a certain thing, she's actually advising to do it completely differently, right? So she's going against the grain of the mainstream narrative, and telling them to do it differently. So it's polarizing, but it's also backed by results. I'm not going to get into the exact like who and what that is, because that's not the point. The point is that she's taking a stand for something that she truly believes in and convincing you that her way is the way, right? That you know what the result is that you want, but her way is a way that you didn't know about yet. And it's the most effective, safe way, things like that. It's backed by results. So that's what makes her super memorable. So it doesn't mean like being controversial just for the sake of being controversial, right? Like sometimes we all get a bee in our bonnet and we want to be a little bit controversial just to like go out there and stake our beliefs and like put our, plant our flag and stand up for what we believe in. Here's where there's like a difference here. I want you to have a strong and distinct voice and not be afraid to stand out. Stand up for something. Talk about what you boldly stand against, what you oppose. When everyone else is like going this way, why do you go this way instead? Like, what's your strategy there? So, talk about that. Talk about why, when everybody else is going this way, you're going this way. So, if you're not going to follow the crowd, you can lead with that unique, effective advice that makes people really stop and think, right? It's kind of flipping the script. It's flipping it to a completely different approach that people aren't usually thinking about. So think about your industry then. How can you apply this to what you do? What are the common practices that like everyone else seems to follow? What if you did the opposite? Or maybe you already are doing the opposite and you just don't realize it. Like, oh, I do this completely differently. I still help people achieve this result, but I go about it in a little different way. So challenge that status quo and then present some new ideas in your content. This not only grabs attention, but it's also going to position you as a thought leader. People remember the people who dare to be different, especially when they can back it up with results. Okay. So polarizing content makes you memorable, but don't just stir the pot for the sake of it. I want you to be genuine. I want you to be able to back up your bold statements with results. And so when you talk about doing the opposite of mainstream and prove it works, people are actually going to take notice. So that is like grounded in authenticity, right? So your audience can tell when you're being genuine. Your audience can tell when you're just trying to provoke a reaction, right? Your polarizing views and your hooks and grabbing people's attention should actually stem from real experiences and real beliefs that you hold dearly to yourself. So that's where that authenticity really comes in. So if you can share your unique insights, explain why you hold those views, use data, use case studies, use personal stories to back up your points. So when you embrace that polarization, you can actually attract that loyal following of people who resonate with your message. And those people are your ideal clients. The ones who see the world as you do, the people who value your unique approach. So I don't want you to be afraid to repel those people who don't align with your vision and with your true authentic self. It's really, really better to have a smaller group of engaged followers and of people who truly believe in who you are and what you're doing than a large group of people who are just simply indifferent to your content. So how can you bring more polarization into your marketing? Here's a couple questions to get you started. So, number one, identify those unique beliefs. All right. This is something that we do with our clients during our onboarding. We want to get a creative brief with them and we want to understand, like, what do you believe that others in your industry don't? Okay. So, think about what sets you apart in a conversation with your colleagues. What is your industry doing that you completely disagree with? Okay. So, that's your unique beliefs there. What is something that you believe that other people in your industry don't? And then what is somebody in your what is your industry doing that you completely disagree with? So answer those questions. You'll probably be able to come up with some good polarizing content. Next is those passion points. So what topics do you get fired up about and super passionate about? When you hit those moments of like being in flow where you're just on fire with your messaging, like I'm talking right now in this podcast and I just feel like I'm in flow because I love talking about being polarizing. These are subjects in which you should really just focus on, okay? Because you're passionate about that and that's going to come through in your messaging and it's really going to engage your audience. Next is to highlight your superpowers. So what makes you different? Next is to highlight your superpowers. What makes you better in your industry? It's really okay to lean into and acknowledge your strengths, okay? Like pat yourself on the back a little bit, acknowledge some of your wins. What do you do better than anyone else? What have you done better than other people that have worked with your ideal clients, right? What's your secret sauce? What's the zhuzh that you bring to the situation? It's one of my favorite words. Got to zhuzh it up a little bit. So think about that. Think about what's your secret sauce? What makes you different? What makes you better than anyone else? Okay, the last one is to be super bold and be loud about it. How can you amplify your message while staying true to yourself? I want you to be able to express your opinions and your thoughts based on your unique experiences. And how can you turn up the volume on that messaging without losing authenticity? One of the things that I like to do is to put a tiny bit of ad spend behind some of that content that I post that gets really good resonance with my audience. So if I post something organically, then I'm going to take it and just not boost it, but put a little bit of engagement ad spend behind it in Ads Manager and show it to people who have interacted with my page or who have been on my website, things like that. So I'm staying top of mind and I'm letting those people know, hey, this is why you should XYZ. This is why you should book a call with me. This is why you should talk to me about running your ads. Okay. So take some time to sit with these questions. Hopefully you were taking notes or rewind, take a listen again, but reflect on your own unique perspective. Okay. Because that's super important. Think about how you can bring that into your content. I want to challenge you to be bolder, be louder, and be unapologetically you. I want you to embrace your unique voice and stand out from the crowd. All right. If you're ready to transform your marketing, I want you to reach out to me for a consultation. Thank you so much for tuning in to the $1 Million Marketing Podcast. I also want you to keep striving for that marketing excellence. Remember that ads always work. Marketing always works when done right. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the $1 Million Marketing Show. If you enjoyed today's deep dive into the world of marketing, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode. And hey, if you're feeling extra generous, drop us a review and spread the word to your fellow entrepreneurs. Your support means the world to us, and it really helps us reach more entrepreneurs just like you. Until next time, remember that in business, if you're not moving forward, you're falling behind. I'll catch you on the next episode.